Hello, hello, hello. I hope you're here, and I hope you're having a good Friday. Come on in, come on in, come on in. It's good to see you. It's Friday, Drama-Free Friday, in the summertime. Summertime. Yeah. Anyway, hello, Purple Nana Linda. Good to see you. How are you today? I hope you're doing okay. I do. Does the sound okay for you? Hopefully. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. It's a good day. A little crazy, but good. All right. Hello, Connie. Sound is okay. Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am glad you're here. I'm glad I'm here. It has been a little wild this past couple of days. Oh, who am I kidding? It's been wild for weeks. Who am I kidding? Anyway, wow. I don't know if it's lagging or if we just don't have any people here. Must be just, we must just be slow getting people. Hello, Peggy. Hi, Joan. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. How many times can I say that? 100? Maybe. And every time I say it, I mean it. I'm glad you're here. Joan, how are you doing? I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're staying out of trouble. I do. I'm looking for a cheap brush. Be right back. Cheap enough. Cheap and cheerful, as the saying goes. Cheap and cheerful. Okay. So, in case you don't know who I am, I think everybody here knows. But in case there happens to be a new viewer somewhere, my name is Barb. And I'm glad you're here because we're going to do some fun stuff today, I think. I wasn't sure what we were going to do. Last minute, I figured out what we were going to do. At the last minute. But before we get going, I'm going to show you some things, okay? Last week, when we were together, I was telling you about my trip to California. Actually, it was a trip to California via Colorado. Kansas, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, then LA. Yeah, it was a little wild. I know I've slept since then, but I'm not sure exactly when or how much. Anyway, last week when we were here, I was telling you about that trip, and I assembled a journal page with all it's more like a scrapbooky kind of thing. Joan is doing okay, keeping yourself busy with paper crafting, designing, and making jewelry out of resin. Good for you, Joan. Good for you. Hi, Starla. I'm glad to see you. Miss Starla, I hope you're feeling a little better right this minute. Right this minute. So I took all the stuff that I made I collected. I didn't make any of it. I collected it, printed off some pictures, and put it on this page. And I thought, oh, I will show it to you. After everything got really well glued, I have not done any journaling in it yet, but I have another thing to show you. So this is my, these were my printed out ticket things for checking a bag. They charge you $45. $45 to check a bag. That's craziness. But anyway, and then we went to this really cool place where we had these wonderful macarons. Yes, wonderful macarons. Ugh, so good. And the package was tied up with this beautiful ribbon. It was this ribbon right here. And so I just sort of layered all this stuff in here. So I just thought I would show you how it looked after it was completely dry. And I stapled these together so I could still look at what those were. I don't remember what this was from. I have no idea. Made in California. It may have been from this Louis Bottega. It's spelled with a T. Bottega Louis. Sorry. And this was the menu, and this was the wonderful parchment paper, deli paper that they had inside this box. Then we went to there's a piece of parchment paper back, or deli paper back here. Went to the coffee bean. This was from a napkin. This was already on the page. This is more of this deli paper right here in the background. This was a sticker I run on Grace and Coffee and Grace. That came from this cathedral that we went to where we listened to this amazing organ recital. This man was from Poland, I believe, and these were some pictures from inside the cathedral, which is called the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels. Okay, and this was the bag that I got at this bookstore that they have there at the cathedral, which is incredible. It really is incredible. And I just glued the bag down, and then all the stuff I had left over I just stuck in the bag. That's how classy I am, because you never know when I might want to yank some of that stuff out of there and use it. So at some point I'm going to do some journaling and probably stick it in there, or stick it to the back of these little boarding pass and receipt for the very expensive checked bag, which was ridiculous. Anyway, that is how it all dried. But remember, I told you about that wonderful place where they had the macarons, and I had brought this box home, and the box is incredible. Only people that do what we do would save a box, but I saved this box because it is a top quality box. Now these macarons were 6. You could get 6 of them for $20 plus tax. This was the box. I mean, it is an amazing box. It comes with all of this instructions, and then this right here. This is why I kept it, because each one of these had a macaron in it. Each one of these little sections. This has got to be useful for something. I don't know what for. I haven't decided what for. But the box is, it's too good to throw out, and it's too good to cover up. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll put I don't know what I'll put in it. Doodads? I don't know. Hey, Barbara Clark. Hello, Ellen. Good to see you. Glad you're here. It is good memories. It really is. No, I'm not gone today, but we'll talk about when I am gone. Thank you for checking, though. That was really good. So anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do with this box, but it's over here in my stash of things that are too good to throw away. Must keep. It's in the must keep stash. Yeah. Okay, so regarding my schedule, I am, as you can see, here today, and then I will hopefully, fingers crossed, be here next week also. I'm hoping. I think I will, but if you come and you don't see me by 1:10 or 1:15 at the latest, you'll know I'm not going to be here. But I plan to be here. It may be a shorter than normal stream, but I plan to be here. The week after that, I will not be here. Let us look and make sure. That is a holiday weekend. Yes, that is the 3rd of July. I will not be here then, but I should be back the following one on the 10th. Okay? So that is the plan, Stan. That is the plan, Stan. Okay. Anywhoots. So, hey, Amber, how are you? Good to see you. Hey, Jan. The Bears are finished time shifting as you're back from your European jaunt, Germany, France, and Italy. 7 flights, never again. I hope you have a wonderful time, Jan. And my regards to Mr. Bear and Sydney. Yes? You're good. You just got off work. I'm so glad you're here, Amber. That's great. Thank you to Barbara Clark and to Amber for being here. And if I confused you and said I was going to be gone this week, I'm sorry, but, you know, things happen. My brain gets addled sometimes. What else have I been doing? I've been cleaning out pictures. Ugh. Let me just tell you, as much as pictures are wonderful, when you have 500, that's an exaggeration. But if you have lots of the same pose, the same picture, or similar picture, it gets so overwhelming so fast for me. But I have reduced this big trunk of pictures down by half. And so now I have them all. The way that I go about sorting pictures is I sort them into subject, and then I cull through the envelope and I take out all the ones that are extraneous, and then I decide after that what I'm going to do. That's where the point where I am right now. I don't know what to do with all the pictures. I don't know if I should put them in, try to make albums for the different things, because I have so many different family group situations going on. It's just like, ugh. Anyway, but in the midst of all that, I got some really cool pictures to use for art purposes. So I thought I would show them to you. Okay, you ready for some cute, fun pictures? The reason that these are art purpose pictures is that I don't know who they are. Yeah, or they're names of people that mean absolutely nothing to me. Okay, you ready? Oh, come on, you silly thing. There we go. Okay. Look at that dapper young man. Yeah. That is a dapper dude right there. Hello, Linda, and hello to Tim. Glad you're here. Yeah, look at that dude. And even the artwork around the edge of the mat is really neat. But he's almost smiling, and this is in an era where they were not encouraged to smile when they took pictures for some reason. So, I don't know. This is somebody back in Claus Man's family that, I don't have any idea who it is. This is a funny picture. Look at that. Don't you know that little girl, it's a little girl and her brother, okay? And his name is, okay, are you ready for this? This poor child is named Id, I-D. Ah, Jan, that's nice of you. Thank you so much. So this kid's name is Id, I-D. Yeah, even says it on the back. Id Brown is his name. Not Ed, but Id. Uncle Id. I do remember Clausman talking about Uncle Id. Hey, Dorothy. Yeah, Uncle Id. I don't know who this is. It's his sister, I guess. But look at the pose on that little girl where the belt is. How long do you think that belt stayed up? Yeah, somebody told her to smile, and I don't think she wanted to. I know. Amber said they weren't usually smiling because they had to hold the pose for so long. Their faces hurt from smiling, so it's easier not to. Yep, that makes sense. Longer shutter time. Yep. It's so good to see you, Jan. I'm so glad you're here and you're back home safely. Here's some, I'll just go through these kind of quickly because they're, some of them are worth, you know, showing. Some of them maybe not so much. This one I saved because I like the mat, the design on the mat. It's like holly leaves. So this must have been a Christmas picture of some kind. But isn't that an interesting design on the little mat? And wow, I'm glad I don't have to wear a collar like that, especially when I was going through menopause. I'd have croaked. I would have croaked. This one is funny. Now, in this picture, these two people over here, these are Clausman's grandparents, okay? His grandmother and his grandfather. I don't have a clue who these other two ladies are, but nobody looks, I mean, I just can imagine the conversation in this picture. I have many more pictures that are much better of his grandparents, but can't you just make up the conversation or thought bubbles going on? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, this one again. This one had a name on the back with a question mark, and there's no one left to ask questions of. But again, can't you just kind of imagine? These are like Tim Holtz found relatives. She's not even looking at the camera. That's what I think is funny too. So anyway, there's that one. And this guy almost has a smile also. But I like his hairdo. She's critiquing how he's standing. Oh, I bet she is too. Okay, this one is really funny. Again, people I don't know. But isn't that a funny pose? I don't know if that's a wheelbarrow or an ice cart. I don't know what it is, but yeah. Funny picture. Another teeny one. This one has an embossed, let's see if I can get it where you can see it, an embossed mat around that picture. See it one way, you see the embossing around the oval. Tip it the other way. It's almost one of those holographic things. You tip it the other way, you get to actually see the picture. And she almost is smiling. So some of these are kind of happy. This is, who knows, this got ripped out of a photo album at some point. It must have been like a family reunion or something. There's not a person in there that I recognize. And I think it could be another one of those. Clearly the glue had gotten to it or something, or the acid or something. I just can see some of these having funny captions on them. This is another funny one. This is actually my mother-in-law when she was a little girl holding a cat. Get a load of the sunbonnet. Clearly it was summertime, but get a load of that sunbonnet. So cute. This one is a bunch of ladies. One of these ladies, oh, this is Clausman's grandmother, the same one that was telling her husband what to do a minute ago. She has a smile, she had a nice smile. I don't know what these ladies are doing, but there is a man there. in the background. The rest of them are all ladies. We don't know what they're doing. I think they might be telling stories. I don't know. They have percolators on the table, or at least one percolator on the table. Anyway, funny pictures. Some of these I kept just because I thought the costumes were interesting. Don't know the groups of people, or the hairstyles are funny. There's one poor child that's in there in the middle of that mess. No idea who. This lady could be with my mother-in-law with the sunbonnet. That could make a fun collect, journal page or something. But look at all the chickens. She's feeding the chickens. She has on a sunbonnet. And I do think that could be, I'm sure these two are related to each other, but couldn't that be a fun picture? Put those two together. The chickens are so funny, aren't they? Gossip hour, I think you're right. This one, I don't know. There's a couple of kids they're on a branch. But look how dressed up she is. Dressed up, standing on a branch, getting a picture taken with her little brother or somebody. This one I think is funny because of the Christmas tree. Get a load of the Christmas tree in the background. And you see those snowflakes up on the window. I love the clear plastic over the good tablecloth. They probably are, Dorothy. That's how they used to do it. We didn't want to have to wash the tablecloth, so we put a sheet of plastic over it. Okay. Anyway, my grandmother-in-law, who has been gone for quite a while, she made every year, she did those. Why are you going to be anyway, no complaints. Every year she would cut snowflakes, paper snowflakes, and she would put them on her window. Every year she did it for, I don't even know how many years she did it, but many, many, many years for Christmas and winter. She would cut those snowflakes out and then glue them with rubber cement onto her window. She always had a picture window, and so she would put those snowflakes on her window. Okay, now this one, I don't want anybody saying, oh, you should keep that picture, because believe me, I have many, 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 many copies of this picture that are far better than this one, okay? So before you scold me that I should keep it, nope, not happening. Okay. I'm not keeping it because it's ripped in half, but I think that could be kind of a funny thing to do. Okay, this, you guys, is Claus Man when he was about probably 3. There's no date on the back of it. He was probably 3 in this picture. His father was in World War II. An interesting story. We will get into art here in a moment. His father was in World War II. He was from a family of 5 brothers. All 5 brothers went to the war at the same time. All 5 of them. It is no wonder that the mother of that bunch, which is Claus Man's paternal grandfather, she was mean. Paternal grandmother. She was mean. She was just mean. And it's no wonder she was mean. All 5 of her children, her 5 boys, went into the war, World War II, at the same time. Can you imagine? I think no wonder she's crazy. She was bat crazy. And this was a picture of some. I thought at first that maybe it was a store that Clausman's grandparents had, but I see no evidence of that. And so I don't think it is. But I thought it was an interesting picture just to do something with because of the advertising on it, the car in front of it, and so forth. And this was with it, and I think this must be the inside of that store. But look at the ceiling and the display cases and the big cans, the various sizes of cans of things, and the cases that have things in it. I don't know if this is I can't tell for sure if that's a meat case or candy counter. I think it might be meat, but I'm not sure. And then the people that work in the store are back there lined up. Anyway, I think this was too fancy for the store that Clausman's grandparents had, but there's no information on it. And then this one, okay, last one of the old pictures to show you, but look at the outfits. And look how happy this lady is. Look how happy she is. Look at the expression on her face. And the one behind her. Look how happy that guy is. This lady's not too bad. But look how pretty this woman is right there. Isn't she attractive? Anyway, I just thought I would show those to you because I thought they were pretty cool. Pretty cool pictures. Don't have any idea. That's why you should always label your pictures. Yeah, you should always label the pictures so that so people in the future will know who they are and if they're important, right? Okay. I know the clothes are great, aren't they? And then I also found this, which I have to say was pretty funny. This, I don't know what I did. The original art is over there. Okay. This was stuck in a myriad of papers. Lots of papers. Yeah. Lots of papers. Okay. Now, before I show you this picture, I'm the tail end of 5 girls in my family. I was the tail end. And apparently I always did do artwork of some kind. We didn't call it artwork back then. We called it keep her busy. Yes. And my mom saved some of the things that she thought were more amusing and poignant. 2 of my sisters, the oldest 2 sisters, they got married within a few months of each other. I was only 5 at the time. They got married within a few months of each other, and both of them were, soon after getting married, got pregnant, okay? Or were pregnant when they got married. I don't know. It doesn't make any difference to me because I don't care. I'm sure my parents cared about it a whole lot, but I don't care. Okay. So apparently that really made an impression upon me, and I was little. And my mom saved this, so apparently it made an impression on her. And I was called Barbie by everyone in my family. So that's my mom's handwriting that says, Barbie's idea of how her 2 PG pregnant sisters look. Okay, ready? There you go. That's, and I labeled this as Mary. So apparently I thought that was Mary. Is that funny or what? That's how I thought my sisters looked when they were pregnant. Yeah. So I made a few copies of those and put the original back. Too funny. And then also, I know, right, Amber? Also, when I was looking in my stuff, I ran across this. And I obviously had the same issue that my mom had, which was saving artwork that I thought appealed to me. It is probably how they felt. Yes, indeed. So this was just a piece of scrap paper. I was trying to keep my grandchildren busy at some point. And so one of them did this, and then I don't know who this is or what this is exactly. It's a path, a doorway. I don't know what that is exactly. But he flipped it over, and on the other side, he drew houses. Now, I don't know if one of these is my house and one of these is their house, but this is one of my grandsons, and this was Christmas of '97. And I thought it would be fun to take this and make copies of it, which is what I did. So I made copies and of each side of it. And so I thought we might do something with these. I know that Becky and Beck's Creation is doing a house, an exchange of houses, like little flat houses that you can put in an envelope to trade with each other, and I thought it could be just kind of fun to just do something with those. But these are copies. This is the original. This is crayon, and the colors are remarkably good. Honestly quite good. This color not so much, but yeah, anyway. So the point of this is, if you have grandchildren or great-grandchildren or nieces or nephews or whoever, and you have them do artwork, always have them sign it. I encourage you to have them title it and write that down in their own handwriting. But have them sign it and then date it. You will be really glad that you did that. Okay? Yeah, great colors, isn't it? Yeah, beautiful paintings. Okay, we'll put that to the side because that's not what we're going to do today. Okay, so we're going to take this piece of... Does anybody have any questions before we go on? Yes, no? Okay. All right, we're going to go on. And so what I have here is a piece of watercolor paper. And it's just, I think it's 140 pound. It's just whatever I had available. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this paper to be inspired by somebody I saw online. And she was on YouTube. I don't remember her name, but the channel was Festival of Crafts. And she does lots of different kinds of things. And I thought we would take something she did that absolutely anybody can do, and we're going to see if we can get it done in an hour and a half and sort of be inspired by what she did. If any of you know who she is, Festival of Crafts, she's in the UK somewhere, I think. She references going to Japan frequently, and so that's as much information as I can give you. But she is in she was on YouTube, okay? So we're going to use a piece of watercolor paper. It happens to be 9 by 12, but it could be whatever. And then I'm going to use these, because they're on my desk, these Gansai Tambi watercolors. And we're going to make some puddles of paint. I'm going to make several puddles of paint, and then we're going to paint this piece of paper, and then we're going to do something fun with it. Okay? Hello, Dana. All right, so here we go. So these are the Gansai Tambi. This is the set that I have, and so the first thing I'm going to do is put water over all these so I don't have to worry about which one I want to choose, okay? All right. And then I just have a little weld plastic. Actually, I have two of them from the craft store. Plastic paint. They're almost like muffin tin kind of things, you know, but they're for paint. And we're going to pick, I don't know, some colors here that I like. And we're going to put a bunch of water in it and hopefully make a nice puddle of paint. Like so, and then I'll pick up more water as I use this. Hopefully it will be enough to last. Okay, let's use turquoise blue. I have no reason for picking these colors other than I'm just picking things that I know will work together. So the blues will work together, like blues, greens, purples, those will all work together very nicely. So I'm just picking up more paint and adding more water into it. Then I will add more as we go along. Okay? I don't care whether the brush is totally clean. That is irrelevant to me. Okay, how about cobalt violet? So this is the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just make 6 little wells of color. And then we are going to, what I'm going to do, you can do. Anybody can do. Makes no difference who you are. You can do this technique that we're going to do. Okay? I must have flipped some a piece of paper into that malachite color. So we had company here overnight. Very interesting family from, they currently reside in Uganda in Africa. And they are interesting, such interesting folks. And they have 3 little boys who are ages 10, 8, and 4. And they work in a on the mission field in Ekisa is the name of it, EKISA, and they work with people who have issues, physical issues. I don't know if they're also like, I know a lot of them are developmental problems and people who are rejected basically from society, or families have rejected them. And so these folks work there and have put together, I gotta think here a minute, they run the program there, and they have a lot of kids and people who, I think most of them are children. I may have some of this information mixed up, but it's spelled EKISA, Ekisa, if you want to look it up. And they're here back in the States. They're from the States, but they're back here for the summer. And they came in here yesterday with a huge, and I do mean huge, really big motorhome. And I'm like, whoo, this could be really interesting to see how this works. And it was a pull-behind motorhome. Really nice. I mean, it could not be any more perfect than it is for their kids. They're 3 boys. And they have been all over the U.S. And so it was fun to have them here. The kids, the little boys, were darling. This morning, you know, because they live in Uganda, it's a very different living situation. And over there, Apparently what they have is they have showers, okay, as opposed to bathtubs. This morning, the littlest one, age 4, comes up to his mom and he said, "Smell me. Smell me, Mommy." And she goes, "Okay." He said, "Smell me to see if I stink." He's 4. He'll be 5 in October. And she leaned over and acted like she was smelling him. And she said, "You smell fine. You're fine." He said, "But smell me again. Do I stink?" Finally, she said, Why do you ask me that?" What he wanted was to take a bath because they don't have bathtubs where he lives, and he wanted to take a bath. Oh, so funny. So funny. Yes, she does sashiko stitching also. Yes. Yes. She does sashiko, but she does a lot of other things. She does bookbinding and watercolor and stuff like that too. Yeah. so, and so I said, if he wants to take a bath, that is just fine. Let's just go run the bathtub. And then he looked at me and he says, "Do you have toys for the bathtub?" And I said, "You know what? We'll find some. We will find some toys." And he was in that bathtub. I know he had to turn into a prune. I know he did, but he had the best time. He did have a really, really good time. It was so funny. But that was how, instead of just asking if he could take a bath, his question was, "Smell me. Smell me. Do I stink?" Okay. So cute. Okay. So let's go back to this piece of paper. And what I have done is I've taken this, which is, I don't know if I got this at the dollar store or Walmart or Target, one of those. And it's one of those mister sprayers, which is nice because it puts this really even, fine spray mist. And so I've sprayed it with water. Okay? And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these watered down watercolors, and when she did this, she did not wet the paper to start with, but I am going to wet the paper. If I get it too wet, then I may have to use a little dabber to kind of dab up some of the excess. Doesn't matter to me. And so I'm just going to keep doing this with the puddles of watercolor and just painting them around here and there and letting some of the watercolor overlap the colors. And because these are colors that all kind of work together, they don't clash and turn into making mud and stuff like that, it'll work. Okay, now this place over here got way too much water on, so you know what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of let things kind of run together. Okay, like so. This is not exactly the way that she showed it. She did it on dry paper. I'm working with a wet or dampened paper. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is just keep going with the different colors, and obviously there was no water over here because that section got dry in a hurry, so we'll dance in a little bit more color there, and maybe take some purple. Now sometimes purple and green get together and they make a funky color, and you know what, if they do, they do. I'm not gonna sweat the small stuff. And I'm not making sure that my paint, the color is out of all of my brush before I move on to another color. There's no need for me to do that, because I don't mind if the colors kind of merge into each other. So let's go to this color and see. And just add more of this. Whatever kind of color you want to use. And you know, one of the other things I want to add to this is I want to pick up some yellow and add into this, because yellow and purple they're not very friendly. They are opposites on the color wheel. So I'm not going to put in great big huge spots of yellow, but I just want some yellow here and there to brighten it up. And if it gets into the purple and it kind of dances with the purple and it makes a brown, for example, or a muddy color, we're gonna go, it's okay, we don't mind, right? And I'm just going to continue playing back and forth. Hey, Carol. Carol, have you been sick? I missed that. I hope you're getting better and better. Elton has been gimping around. Oh my goodness. He's been on a cane. Yeah, he's been on a cane, hobbling around. Tell you what. Crazy man. Too much working up on a ladder out in Colorado. Yeah, too many hours riding in a car. Hopefully he will get better soon, because we do not need him gimping around. So he's been a right royal mess, I'll tell you that. For him to be, oh, there I got the purple and the yellow together, but they don't seem to be misbehaving too badly. Yeah, so hopefully he gets feeling better. He's supposed to be somewhere this weekend and part of next week, and he decided he was gonna be here and get better, because the week after this we go, like next Friday, we leave to go on a trip with some other people, and we want him to be in good shape for that, don't we? Of course, you guys probably wouldn't mind if that didn't work and I had to be here instead. Teasing, I'm teasing. You would never do that, I know. Okay, what I want to do with this is, I'm going to turn it around first of all, is I'm trying to keep some of these colors kind of separated. I don't mind if they kind of mix together a little bit, but I don't want them to to become all blendy into one kind of color. Okay, that I don't want. And so that's why I'm kind of dancing around the page so that the colors will be a little bit separate. From each other. And this is not, as I heard on PBS one time, no, it wasn't. It was a cooking show where this guy was trying to make, he was trying to make a point in how easy whatever it was that he was doing. And he says, let's see if I can get this straight. Let me think a minute so I get it straight before I say it to you. It wasn't it wasn't rocket surgery or brain science or something like that. And I'm like, okay. It was just the opposite of what you would expect someone to say. He was trying to make a real point, and that's kind of what this is. It's easy. That's the point of this. It's easy. Put a damper on his lunch lady. Yeah, you know, yesterday somebody said something to us about the kids that were coming, because we checked with some other folks to see what kinds of foods and things they liked for the children. And somebody said, boy, the kids just love brownies. And they said, do you have any of your Texas sheet cake? And Elton said, no, I don't. And I could tell by the way he was, the wheels were spinning. I could see the wheels turning in his head, that he was trying to figure out how he could make Texas sheet cake for the kids, because it's very similar to brownies, and apparently they just love brownies and stuff. And I looked at him and I said, nope, we're not getting that mess out and starting that. He didn't have any business standing on his feet making, because he can't make one, okay? He cannot make one Texas sheet cake. He makes 4 at a time, okay? 4. Count them. Yeah, he makes 4 at a time. Like, nope, we're not getting that mess out. We're not doing that. Because I am here to tell you, okay, not too long ago, all right, let me concentrate here for just a second. Let me put a little bit more of this in here. And then I'll tell you the rest of what I was going to tell you. Okay, we can let the rest of this. There's some little white spots here and there, and that's okay. I don't mind that. Put a little more yellow in there. Okay, that's good enough. Good enough. All right, then I'm going to take these, which are watercolor. I'm going to just stack them kind of cattywampus from each other so they can dry out in the little wells. And it's okay if they just dry out, because they can be reconstituted with water because they're watercolor. Anyway, so I will tell you that I am spoiled, because when I moved into this house with Elton, it's his house and it's big. The house is big. It's been added on to. And it's a big house, and I said, I'm not going to clean this house. He said, oh, okay. He said, we can get somebody to clean it, and I said, that's fine. And so the people that come to clean don't clean the whole house. We've already had this discussion about how I clean for the cleaners, because you got to put all the stuff away. You know what I mean. So there was one day where the cleaners came, and I always have them clean the kitchen and the kitchen counters. I keep the kitchen really clean, but you know, I still like to have somebody else go over anyway, doesn't matter. The two things that I want them to do, I want them to do the floors and the bathrooms. Those are the main things, but they do the kitchen too, kitchen counters. So we had all that done. And then he decides to make Texas sheet cake, 4 of them. I don't know if it's a double batch or a double, but anyway, he makes 4 sheet cakes that are probably 14 by 18 or thereabouts. You can buy the tinfoil pans, you know, that have a little lip on them. And anyway, the cleaners had come in and cleaned the kitchen. It was all spotless, and I came back in the kitchen and it looked like a bomb had gone off on it. And I said, "You been cooking?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he said, "The powdered sugar." And I'm like, "Yeah, got it. The powdered sugar." That was all he had to say. I knew from then what had happened. The powdered sugar had a little... Powdered sugar had gotten the best of him. Yes, exactly, Barbara. Exactly. We do stay neater, don't we? Yes, we do. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wave my magic wand, also known as a heat tool. So we're going to wave this around on this piece of paper, keeping it up off of my cutting mat, because if you aim this heat tool directly down too close to your cutting mat, you will warp it. So it is a good idea to keep it up like this and wave the heat tool. That way, if you want to get down close to the surface of the paper, you can, but the heat has dissipated before it gets down to your mat. Once the water, the bulk of the water gets kind of dried up on this surface, then I'll show you what we're going to do to finish drying it. And this looks like a big fat mess, and that's okay. We don't care. So once you have it fairly dry on this side, then turn it over and dry it from the back. 2 things help this piece of paper dry quicker. One is to dry it from both sides. The other thing is to hold it up. Not only does that save your mat, but it also lets that heat circulate better with the paper, and it drives the heat a little bit more through the paper to help dry it quicker. Okay? You could not make this piece of paper any easier to create than this. The only thing you have to watch when you're doing stuff like this, when you're working with your watercolors, or it could be thinned acrylics also. Like you could be using, I just happen to have these on my desk. So you could use these acrylic paints. These are really highly pigmented. I'm finding that I go to more and more of these golden fluid acrylics. I like them because they're so highly pigmented. It takes such a little amount of paint. But you can work with diluted acrylic paint. The craft paints are chalkier and not as highly pigmented. You can still use those, but you can use those to do your painting like this. The only thing you have to watch is what colors are you combining on your sheet, because sometimes you see how this, where I said you got to watch the purple and the yellow, that you end up getting these muddy tones when you let the purple and the yellow, which is opposites. The reason that happens is they're opposites on the color wheel. Okay, a little bit more a little bit more of our heat on each side. If you wanted this to get absolutely bone dry, you would have to let it sit for a little while. We're going to try to push it and move on without it being like just crispy dry. And you'll know if it is completely dry if it is no longer cool to the touch. If it's still cool to touch, then you'll know that it's still a little bit damp. Okay. It feels pretty good. A little damp down here. All right, good enough. Okie doke. Now, I'm going to put the camera back on my desk here for a second, and what I'm going to do is go look for, I think I know where they are. I need a couple of pens, black pens, and they're on the other side of my monitor here. This is my monitor right here that I'm pointing to. There's a table on the other side of that, and so I'm going to go over there. I'm going to let you look at this a little bit more, so don't anybody don't get too excited. I will, if I'm not talking to you, which I can talk to you but you wouldn't hear me, I will be right back. Okay, we're back. Now, what I'm not going to use with this, and especially if this were watered down acrylic paint, what I'm not going to use with these when it's even a little bit damp, I'm not going to use a felt tip pen like the Microns. I'm not going to do that, or the Pitt pens. You would have to let this be 100% crispy dry. Hello, Kathy Patterson. Good to have you here. Yeah, I like how it's just different, you know? I just like how it's just got different effects on the paper. So what I am using here is, I'm going to be using, this is a Uniball Deluxe Fine pen. Okay, for example, let's take this piece of paper. Okay, this is a rollerball pen. It's black. It's got kind of a thickish line, but it's easy to use, and it's just something that I got a whole box of at one point. It says, in case you want to know specifically, it says Uni Super Ink Uniball. Uniball Deluxe Fine. That's what it says. And that's all the information I can give to you about this one. This one is a Pilot multi-ball. Okay. And this is pretty fine. It is a finer tip than the other one that I showed you. But again, it is not a felt tip. It is a it's a harder tip, harder nib. This one is called, this is a hybrid Technica by Pentel. This is an 03. Okay. This pen I learned about from Janet Merle Young. It is similar in size to the Pilot Multiball. Some of these work really well over any acrylic paint. And the reason that I don't go for the microns over this kind of thing is that they dry. It's just like it just sucks the life out of those felt tips. So you want to use something that is more like a rollerball kind of style pen. Well, I'm glad you're here. Amber says she's used the red one of the Uniballs, and they're nice. Oh, good. Cool. So that's what we're going to use to play with this. Okay, remember we're being inspired by the lady on Festival of Crafts. Does anybody know her name? Did anybody find out her name? I want to say it's Jill, but I'm not sure. Cafeteria size sheet cake, Starla said. Yeah, if they were all put together, they would be. It's not rocket science or brain surgery, but it was the opposite. Whoever said that said it just the opposite of that. They said it's not rocket surgery or brain science or something. I'm like, okay. Yeah, they said exactly the opposite of what it was supposed to be. Made me laugh. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. So we're being inspired by the lady at Festival of Crafts on YouTube. Now, she used different pens than these, and she did, the thing that attracted me to this is I like loopy flowers, okay? I like loopy flowers. Maybe because I'm a little loopy, but loopy flowers. And so I'm going to start out, let's do most of this. We'll see how this works with the Uniball Deluxe. She did fairly small loopy flowers. I'm going to do fairly big or bigger loopier flowers. And what you're not doing in here is looking for the flowers like a flower shape. We're not looking for a flower shape that we can then pick out of this conglomeration of color. We're going to pick a spot. Any spot, doesn't matter. So we're going to take a spot, let's say in the middle of this, or right about here. Okay, I'm going to just do a little circle for a center, for example. So this is in the middle of all this, where these colors kind of come together. I'm not going to pay any attention to where the yellows are, or the whites are, or anything. And I'm just going to draw loopy petal flowers, okay? All right, so that's a pretty good sized flower. If you want to know how big they are, just for some point of reference, the diameter of this is about 3 inches from one end of the petal to the other end. And so each petal is around 1.5 inches on this flower, okay? Anybody can do this. Anybody can do these big loopy flowers. Now I'm going to pick another spot. And it doesn't have to be the same size flower. They don't have to overlap. They can overlap, but I would draw in a Zentangle kind of style. I would try to draw behind this flower, not overlapping on top of it. By that I mean this. So let's take this little spot right there, for example, and say that's the center of our flower. And you don't have to draw a center in. It just kind of gives you a place to land. And let's say we go like this. And you see how right here I could draw on top of this flower, or I could pick up my pen and pretend I was drawing and come back so that petal looks like it's underneath or it's drawn behind this first flower, okay? Like so. So that's what I mean by drawing behind. Now, it does not matter how nice these flowers are or how perfect they are. It just doesn't matter. You're just going to move on over, pick another spot. And at this point, I'm going to stop worrying about what size they are, how nicely shaped the petals are. I'm going to stop worrying about all of that. They can be different shapes of petals. For example, they could be 4 petal flowers, for example. Like, let's say you could do one here. Okay, so we could have a flower like that, 4 petal flowers. They could be little, they can be big, they can be whatever you want. So let's come over here, we'll do another one. If you want to have different styles of petal shapes, or you can just do the big loopy flowers, it does not matter. So I'm just going to pick another one. I'm holding my finger on the paper because it wants to bounce. The paper wants to bounce a little bit. And you'll notice that I'm not even coming directly into the center on all of them, but you know, it is what it is. And then I'm going to pick another one, another spot. And it's good to let some of them go off the edge. It's fine. You can also add additional petals behind the one that you just drew, the layer of petals that you drew. So you can have another layer of petals here, like that. Just go for it, play, and fill your page with flowers of whatever kind. And if you wanted to do some really big loopy flowers, you could do that. I don't know. I love loopy flowers. I love stuff like this. So I hope you do too. All right, I'm going to do maybe another one in here. It doesn't matter how great they are. Another thing you can do is you can do double sketchy lines. I like that look a lot, and so I may come back and do that even more. So this morning, when the kids all got up, they slept in the motorhome last night, in their motorhome. And when they all got up this morning, the people we had talked to told us that the kids really enjoyed fruit, because in Uganda, where they live, they don't have a lot of fruit, like berries. They have fruits, but not a lot in the way of berries. So yesterday, Elton took me to the store because he was having such a hard time walking. He said, I'll drive you to the store and you go in and you shop. And I thought, okay. So I went in and I bought different kinds of berries. Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, more strawberries. We got more bananas. You guys, I found the best banana bread recipe. I'm not even a big banana bread recipe, but I found the best banana bread recipe online because I was looking for something that was low sugar, that used a bunch of bananas, because I had a bunch of bananas that were not in good, no longer in good shape, shall we say. Man, that was good banana bread. Ugh. Anyway, and if the bananas aren't ripe enough, because you know, to make banana bread, you're supposed to have really good ripe bananas. And to make really good ripe or good banana bread, you got to have those, you know, kind of really almost black looking, the ones you won't eat, bananas. And they this recipe showed or talked about how you could bake them in the oven and turn them into good bananas for banana bread, and that worked too. Anyway, I digress. So this morning when the boys came in, 3 little boys, I also had cherries that we had left over. So I had cherries, bananas, all the different berries, and then the other thing, as I was walking around, because Elton left me alone going in the store, he left me alone, and so that's always dangerous. And they had a whole case of donuts, of different. This is a grocery store, of different kinds and styles of donuts. They had twist donuts. I feel like Forrest Gump. They had twist donuts. They had regular donuts. They had eclairs. They had filled donuts. They had all kinds of donuts. I'm not kidding you. They had all kinds of donuts. And so I got a dozen donuts. I mean, it was a big old box full of donuts. So I had put those out on a platter. What else did I have? I don't know. Anyway, I had all this stuff and just had it. Oh, bacon. I made fixed bacon in the oven. And because, you don't know whether people like bacon or not. I thought, well, I got 2 pounds of bacon. I'm going to cook it all in the oven. Turned out great. And cooked it on parchment paper on top of a cookie sheet in the oven at 400 degrees. It was like 20 minutes later. It was like the most perfect bacon ever. But anyway, I put all this stuff out on the table and in plates and stuff. Kids come in and they're like, and you should have seen them. They're 10, 8, and 4. And it's like their eyes were like those cartoon characters. Wah, 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 wah. They were like, oh, it's a feast. So cute. They totally enjoyed the feast and the donuts. Oh my goodness, did they love those donuts. Okay, let's go back to this. Enough chit chatter, Barb. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then when they left, we packed all that fruit up. One of the boys helped. He was very eager to help. When he found out that they were going to get to take all that with them, he was very eager to help. And so when it was time, this was the other thing I was going to tell you. When we were ready and everybody was getting ready to fill their plates with their food, I said, now, one of the little boys, the youngest one, was there, and I said, now, the rule is, we have a donut rule here. And he's like, oh, okay. I said, and it's a very important rule that you have to remember in this household about donuts. It's the donut rule. I said, have you ever heard of a donut rule? No. He's 4. And I said, okay, here it is. If you take a donut and you take a bite of it, and he's like, I know what's coming, because if you take a bite of it, you got to eat it. Like, you could see his little brain already. He's miles ahead of me. I said, if you take a bite of this donut and you don't like it, you have to throw it away. And he's like, that's a good rule. Oh, that was a good rule. He loved that rule. He didn't have to eat it. Yeah. Oh, that was a good rule. He has a little bit of a lisp. Not really a lisp, but he has kind of an unusual speech pattern, and that is a good rule. Oh, so cute, so funny. Okay, so you kind of got the idea. And one of the things, if you're a little nervous, one of my friends has a husband who calls nervousy. If you're a little nervousy when you do this, it's okay. You can be a little nervousy. It makes it even better. All right, let's start here. But I hope you have the idea about the drawing behind the flowers. If one flower gets in your way, just draw behind it, like this one. Okay, we're drawing behind this petal. And then I'm just adding another sketchy layer. I like this. One of the things Joanne Sharp said years ago, the first line is not the right one. And that is a great rule. In other words, put another line on it. Don't assume that you have to be absolutely correct with one line. No, just make some more lines, okay? Let's see. I'm just reading the chat for a minute. Wow, Barbara Clark is busy making collage cards and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that's cool. You can make square petals, you can make round petals, you can make fluted petals. Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. Okay? You with me? Are you with me? Okay, let's go on. We're going to do some smaller ones in here. And we took them out for pizza last night. There is a pizza place here in town called Shakespeare's. And we went there for pizza, and when you go, the reason we went to that pizza place is because they have a window and a chute. And if the kids will stand in a certain spot, then the people making the pizzas, well, one of their responsibilities is to take that dough, that pizza crust dough, and if there's a kid standing outside the window that they can see, they throw the dough up, it goes into the chute, drops down, and then the kids can get a hunk of pizza dough. And so they thought that was really fun. Carol is cleaning and listening. So they thought that was a very cool thing, that they could go have pizza dough, which ends up keeping kids busy because it's kind of like Play-Doh for them. And so they thought that was really good. They all got their own hunk of pizza dough, and they made snakes, and they made all kinds of stuff. And the littlest one, when he came over and he got a drink of water, and he had his hunk of dough, got a drink of water out of his cup, and he he was going to put down his water cup. It had a straw in it. He was going to put it down, but his hunk of pizza dough was on the table right there. So he put his cup down, then he picked it back up, and he plunked it into the pizza dough clump, And then she took it out and put it on the table. I don't know what the point of that was, but it was awfully cute. It was just, the mind of a child. You never know. You never know what they're thinking about, do you? Okay, so let's keep going here because Barb needs to get this done. Yeah, especially the mind of a toddler or just above a toddler. Big loopy petaled flowers. And give them some more, another line. The more nervous you are, or the more nervousy you are, if you're my friend's husband, the better you will do this. So let's do some really, we'll do some really nervousy ones. And then we'll go back and we'll make them even a little more nervousy. Okay. But you can see that by using this particular pen, which is a rollerball pen, it is not, the ink is not skipped. It has not ruined the pen that I'm using. It has not ruined the nib of it at all. And so it's you just really don't want to work with a felt tip. Like if you try to do this with a Sharpie, I think you would be not happy. You could use a Bic pen, or I think they call it a biro in other parts of the world. You could do that and it wouldn't ruin that. Okay, we're going to make some more nervousy petals. Okay, and then maybe a couple more little ones in here maybe. So we have a conglomeration of flowers. Another thing that we did, we understood that one of the favorite cereals of these little boys is Lucky Charms, which I have to be quite honest, makes me gag. Ugh. First of all, I'm not a good marshmallow eater, and I definitely would not want marshmallows in my cereal. No offense to you, if that is your if that is your guilty pleasure, that is wonderful, but that is not mine. And so I got a king-size box of Lucky Charms, and they took them home. They took the extra fruit, the extra donuts, prancing proudly, knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that if they took a bite and didn't like it, that Miss Barb said the rule was if you didn't like it, you had to spit it out and throw it away. They thought that was good. Okay, so here is our sheet. Okay, now you could stop here. That would not be a problem. I'm going to do some of this. Again, this is inspired entirely from Festival of Crafts. The lady there, whom I wish I knew her name. And if somebody already put it in the chat, I forgot what it was. I missed it. Anyway, delightful person. Fun stuff that she does. So I'm going to start this. I'm going to show you kind of what she did. You can do whatever you want on this. But this is what she did, and I thought it was a lot of fun. And I'm not sure I will do this over this entire sheet, but I'm going to show you what she did as far as her where we're receiving inspiration. So she started in the middle, taking a petal, and now I'm using the Pilot Multi-Ball. And she came out and she did two kind of curved lines in the middle of a petal. I'll zoom in a little bit more in a minute. And then she put other lines that curved out around those petals, like that. Okay? Like that. To put lines, texture into the petals, just like that. Now, I could have used this same pen for the whole thing, but I just thought I would show you the effect from some of the other pens that I have here. So I've kind of given myself, that was kind of a pitiful excuse for a couple of curved lines. The beauty of this is it is a very doodly kind of situation, and it does not have to be, you're not after perfection. Just come from the center and do a couple of lines that curve like that, okay, in a kind of an oval-esque, and then follow the curve each direction. And that helps to give your petal shape, and it also will give it some kind of an illusion of shading. But don't turn it black, because if you turn it black, you're going to lose all your great things that you put in here from your watercolor. Now you can take your time doing this, or not. You can just kind of give it that sketchiness, sketchy look. And if you happen to go outside your petals, it's going to be, I promise you, it's going to be okay. You don't have to worry about it. Okay? Anybody can do this. Truly, anybody can do this. And the great part about this is that when you're done, you can cut it up. You can make, I think she said that she made business cards out of some of hers. You can make greeting cards out of it. You can make bookmarks. It's great, this kind of thing. If you had, if you are somebody who is caretaking and taking somebody to the doctor a bunch or that kind of thing, if you have the watercolor background done, then you can just take your pens with you and you can sit and you can accomplish something while you're sitting there and waiting for someone, a doctor's appointment or what have you. Okay, let's try this same thing using this little skinny one, the Pentel Hybrid Technica. And you might need a piece of scratch paper to make sure your pen is working. Let's do this little tiny one down here. I'm going to do the same thing, but if you have a smaller flower, having a tinier nib pen will give you a little different texture. This pen is so tiny, the nib is so tiny, it's not working very well for me, so I'm going to go back to the multi-ball. But that's part of what you have to try out and see if you like the effect that the different pens are going to give you. The only thing you have to watch when you're working with a rollerball pen or a, let's say, a Bic pen or a biro, you just kind of have to watch that you don't lay in the ink and smear it with your hand. Okay? All right, that's good enough. And they can all be different levels of darkness. So like this one is kind of airy. You can see the colors behind it. This one was darker just because it's smaller. The area is smaller. And if you did not want to do all the black lines, I'll show you another little bit that you can do. We'll finish this one just this way in this style that we've been doing. Okay, so we have those in that style. Another thing you could do, instead of filling the petals with as many lines, you could go from the center of your petal and just pull straight out, just straight out into the petals, but not too many lines, just straight out like so, but trying to make the lines different, a little different length, so not all the same. Okay, but that way you are letting more of the color beneath show. See, I'm just pulling some lines out from the center of the petal, or the center of the flower. So let's do another one over here. Same thing. So we're going to pick the center and just kind of almost flick with the pen from the center out in different lengths. Just flick that pen so it's not going all the way to the edges, the outer edges of the petal. So there's another one. So they have an airier look. Okay, so now let's go to even another thing that you could do. I'm going to take a small, one of the smaller flowers. I'm going to go back to the petal that I drew, or the pen that I drew these in. And let's say you don't want to do this effect. You want to do something more like this. Pull out. So I'm being more considered with the pen stroke. So I'm actually drawing them more as opposed to just being kind of willy-nilly. I'm actually drawing them in different lengths. And I'm endeavoring to make them kind of straight, but they don't have to be. They could be, you know, kind of willy-nilly if you wanted them to be. I find it, for me, easier if I'm coming from the center out as opposed to from the edge of the petal in. And then I'm going to come out here and I'm going to, at the end of each one of those lines, put a little, what should we call it? A little pollen dot thing. A little dot at the end of each line, okay? So if you would want to combine the, and you, if this doesn't work, you know, if these don't, if the pens decide not to work, you could always go to a paint pen if you wanted to. You just have to watch that you don't get your hand in the paint. Sometimes if the watercolor gets a little thick, it doesn't want your pen, it doesn't want your pen to write on the watercolor as much. So sometimes I'll go back over them a couple times, okay? So then you end up with a different thing, and if you have one that needs a little place, then just add one. So that gives you, again, a different texture to the whole thing. Okay. All right, let's do a few more. And if you don't want to do multiple lines like this, I think this is really, really pretty with the multiple lines. You could actually just take one. And instead of drawing a dot, draw a circle at the end. Like so. But come from a central point in your flower. So I am pretending that it's right in the middle of the center there. These are all just made up, obviously. We're not trying to make up. Draw a real flower. Okay. So again, a different look, a different effect. So you could do that. I prefer to have more of the texture lines coming into the petals. I think it's more interesting. And just because you have a circle at the end of that one center mark that we put in there doesn't mean that you can't add smaller dots at the ends of those lines, like so. Okay, so that's sort of another, it's a variation on a theme. Okay. Another thing you can do for these kinds of things, let's take this big one here, is instead of going straight, because we got kind of a straight thing happening, you know, lines coming out in a more straight essence of straight petal texture. What if we do this? Okay. Again, pretending that you're coming from a central point in the middle of your petal, flower petal. Those I'm just going over again just because they were a little light. Okay, and then you can always come back and add, just flick in a little bit more texture from the center of your petal. Just flick in a few more lines. That will just help to give it a little bit more shading there in the center, a little more depth to the center part of your petals, especially on a big flower that has the big petals. Okay, give it a little bit more zhuzh. So now I've given you lots of different ideas. There are far more other ideas to do this, far more. So you can now go to town and play with any kind of ideas that you have that you want to add to your flower petals. Another thing you can do is get out your paint pens and I have white ones and I have black ones. If I can put my hand on the black one, there they are. And you could also get a colored paint pen. So we'll get a black. Surely I have more black paint pens. We'll see if this one wants to work. Oh, this one, we'll just use this one. So we have some black. Let's get a white one. Maybe that one will work fine. And then let's get a Posca in a color. For example, maybe we'll use that one, okay? And shake them up because these are paint pens. Goodbye, Miss Dorothy. And then you can use your paint pen and give yourself a little center. And if you need to, you can always give it a second coat. I'm using a color that kind of blends with everything else that's going on. To give us, it kind of then camouflages all that joining up of the petals. And this one seems like I need a bigger center, so I'm going to add a little bit more. Now the paint pen's going to take a minute to dry, so you got to be a little careful. And you can always come back and add another coat. Once it gets dry, you can add another little coat to it. Okay. And then if you want to, you can come back. Where's my whites? Okay, and you could come back and add a few little white sparkles into the center on top of the yellow or gold or whatever you added in there. So hopefully you can see that on this kind of doodly artwork you can get a lot of bang for your buck. You can entertain yourself, not have to think, and you can just have a very good time making your flowers. Okay? If you wanted to also use black, you could use your black paint pens, and this is where you can come in and emphasize those black dots that maybe the ink pen is not as black as you wanted it to be. Maybe you want it darker. So just by touching on top of the placement of the roller ball ink, you can just go back over it using your paint pens. Okay? All right. So, and then you can use panda flies. You can use whatever colors you want. All right. Now, this is where you can stop like this. You can just totally stop this and just enjoy the playing with your watercolors and your pens, or you can take it a step further and you can use either gold watercolor, or because I don't have gold watercolor, I have the gold acrylic pen or acrylic paint, and so I'm going to use that. And make myself a little bit of space here because I seem to have gotten myself painted into a corner here. So I'm going to just put some paint on a palette here. And use a good, nice paintbrush, whatever kind you like to use, and take your gold paint. I'm going to put some water in it because my paint's getting a little bit thick in that bottle. I need to use it up. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to find the space between the flowers. And paint out the background around the petals of your flowers. Now, if you slop some of this paint accidentally, slop some of it up onto your flower petals, you just let this thoroughly dry and then come back with the same pen that you outlined your flowers in the beginning, where you just drew the flowers. Come back and just go around the outside of your petal shapes another time. But again, this is sort of it's kind of mindless painting, kind of like drawing the flower petals. Was the whole thing. This entire project has not required a lot of thought process. But when you do this, you do want to have the key to this is a nice gold paint, whether it's acrylic, a quality gold paint, whether it's acrylic or watercolor. So, do you have any questions from anybody? Anybody can do this. I am not kidding. Anybody can do this. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat in all caps. And I will look up here in just a second and answer. And you probably won't need a second coat of this gold paint. It wouldn't have to be gold, it could be black. You could black out the background, or you could use white and you could paint out the background with white. So it's kind of whatever your desire is, you can do it. And you get a very different effect each time you do it. Even better. And then you decide when you're all finished, you decide what you want to do with your finished sheet of fun, watercolory, painted found flowers. We'll call them found flowers. But you probably will have to have water with your brush and your paint. As the paint, most of the acrylic paints in particular are going to be too thick to just paint straight from the bottle. You'll need to thin them a little bit. So remember, next week I hope to be here. I can't guarantee that, but I'm hoping I'm here next Friday. If you show up and I'm not here, you'll know that things got a little complicated and we had to leave earlier than expected or what have you. But I will be gone the week after that, which is the weekend of July the 4th. So I will be gone that Friday. But I hope to see you next week. We'll plan on it. And I would love to see if any of you do any of this kind of I'll call them found flowers, inspired by Festival of Crafts YouTube channel. There's really nothing new under the sun. Just different places and ways to become inspired and put your spin on whatever it might be. Okay, so can you see what's happening? You still get some shadowing behind through the gold paint from the watercolor background. And then, but you have this wonderful, if you use the gold, you have this wonderful sparkly background contrasted with the flatness of the watercolor paint, which is pretty darn cool, if I do say so myself. Okay? Any questions from anybody? I am going to paint gold around all the flowers. I'm going to paint out all the background. And let the flowers be their own thing. And then we'll cut it up and do something with it. Okay? So that, my friends, is the end. It's the end of the line for today. So from a distance, you can really see that gold sparkling. Yeah. Okay? All right. I don't see any questions. other than the one that Purple Nana asked. You like it, Amber? Cool. Good. I'm glad you do. Thank you for being here. Thanks for your patience today. And I will see you hopefully next week. If I'm not here, you'll know that I just couldn't make it. But that is the plan, to be here next week. Okay? Gone the week after for sure. Okay, I will see you before you know it. Remember to get creative today, because you know it's easy. You saw this. This could not be easier. This is such a good thing to do. I can see doing this a whole bunch of times. And you could do it with different shapes. You know, you could do it with circles. You could do it squares. You could do, you know, all different kinds of geometric shapes or organic shapes, not just flowers, but maybe leaves. You could do different kinds of things. Imagine, just imagine. We could go crazy. We could. All right. I will see you before you know it. Bye for now.